friends, I am Süleyman the Magnificent, the 10th Sultan of Ottoman Empire, 89th Caliph of Islam. They call me Süleyman the Magnificent in the West and Kanûnî the Lawgiver in the East. Would you like to know me better? I attached great importance to justice and law. I was known as Kanûnî because I collected and organized the rules of law in a single book. I knew that a large army was necessary for the empire, a strong economy needed for a large army, high welfare of the people for a strong economy, and fair laws for the high welfare of the people were needed. I was born on April 27, 1495 in Trabzon. My father is Yavuz Sultan Selim and my mother is Ayşe Hafsa Hatun. My childhood was spent in Trabzon, the pearl of the Black Sea. I received my first education from my mother and grandmother, Gülhibar Hanım. I was an active, curious, questioning, science-loving child. At the age of 5, I started taking lessons in different fields from Hayrettin Hızır Efendi. My father, who took care of my education, invited me to Istanbul for education when I was 7 years old. I prepared myself for battles by practicing sword training, shooting, riding, hunting. Because it was my biggest dream to expand the borders of our country. In addition, I received a good education in many subjects such as history, science, Ottoman Turkish, literature and art. Like every prince, it was desired that I take an interest in one of the branches of art. I learned the art of jewellery from the well-known jewellers of the time and embroidered gold. Gardening was also an important hobby of mine. I enjoyed taking care of the flowers of the palace. I learned Persian, Arabic and Serbian, the most important languages of the period. At the age of 15, I was appointed as governor of Karahisar by my grandfather Sultan Beyazıt. Later on, I was appointed as the Sancak Bey of Bolu and Kefe. I made good friends in Kefe, where I stayed for many years, and I also learned Tatar. When my father Yavuz Sultan Selim became the Sultan, I became the Beylerbeyi governor of Manisa Saruhan. I had many opportunities to educate myself in Manisa. Teachers from Istanbul, especially Merkez Efendi, guided me. In order to master both Eastern and Western cultures, I proceeded with all my efforts on the path my teacher showed. Throughout my life, I have respected, valued and always protected scholars who work in the fields of science and art. After my father Yavuz Sultan Selim, I became the head of the state as the 10th Ottoman Sultan. I inherited the most powerful state in the world at that time from my father. I needed to take this success to higher levels. For this, I had to expand my boundaries. I conquered the city of Belgrade and the island of Rhodos as a first job. On a hot August day at Mohacs, I defeated the Hungarian kingdom and the 7 European states that were supporters of the Hungarian kingdom in a 3-hour battle. Our enemy's loss in this war was 30 times than ours. While in search of a successful commander to gain more strength in the seas, Algerian Sultan Barbaros Reis declared his loyalty to the Ottoman Empire with 40 ships, land title of his country Algeria and many gifts. Barbaros Hayrettin Pasha helped us have another golden victory in Ottoman history by throwing the great Crusader army into the sea in Preveza. The managers who fulfilled their duties made my job easier. During my reign, I worked with 9 Grand Vizier and 7 Sheikh al-Islam. I have enriched my country architecturally. My biggest assistant in this regard was Sinan the architect. Sinan the architect was one of the best architects of my time. The Süleymaniye Mosque, which I had him build, is known as a masterpiece. If one day you happen to be in the Fatih district of Istanbul, visiting this mosque will make Mimar Sinan and me very happy. I was known as the Magnificent Süleyman, the Great Turk, because of my long leadership of the Ottoman Empire and my victories. With the conquest, I doubled the lands I inherited from my father. Although most of my time was spent in conquest, I was also a goldsmith and poet. The pieces I designed as a jeweler were legendary. I would bring out unique examples not only from my own culture, but also from Western culture. I used to write poems and lyrics with the pen name Muhibbi. Muhibbi means the one with a lot of love. During my lifetime, about 200 poets lived in Istanbul. The most famous of these are Zafi, Baki, Fuzuli, Hayali and Hayreti. I was called the lawgiver, not only because I made laws, but also because I loved and practiced justice. I would meticulously audit existing laws and taxes. There were even times when I found the tax from Egypt to be excessive and returned it to the governor of Egypt. I have made 13 great expeditions to the west and east and won great victories. I was known as the conqueror of the West and Europe. I became the great ruler of the seas and the land. I ruled my state with justice. I added glory to the glory of my state, culture to its culture, and soil to its land.